My name is Caru. I'm 66 years old, and I've lived in Utah the last 30 or so odd years with my wife, Vaibhavi Devi Dasi, and we are Hare Krishna devotees.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We had been in the Los Angeles Krishna Temple for 10 years, and I was in charge of the Indian membership program. It's a large Indian community, and even in those days it was 100,000 plus. And as part of my outreach, I had a radio program out of Pasadena every Saturday. And I did that in 80 and 81. But it was costly. It was about $1,000 a month just for 4 hours. So it occurred to me after a couple of years that for that same amount of money, we could probably get a small radio station somewhere else in the country. And because I love public speaking, it would give me a forum 24 hours a day. Anytime I felt like it, I could just go into the control room and share thoughts and communicate with people. We saw this radio station advertised here in Spanish Fork. It came with 5 acres of land, and it was selling at a fraction of what the average radio station sold for in 1981. And so we came up, and little did we realize that the challenges of planning a new temple in an area where 90% of the people are part of another religion. In those days there were no books on the subject, but now it's become a science, and there's any number of books about how to plan a church. And the cardinal negative is make sure at least 80% of the people are uncommitted before you make your attempt. And so we were doomed to fail according to all the R&D available on the subject. But Krishna, he's a God who can do amazing things. Where you don't see a way, he can make a way. He parted the Red Sea, and he helped us land on our feet, and with the help of all kinds of very neighborly, wonderful, supportive Mormon volunteers, we built a world-class Krishna Temple. And it's ironic that this temple in Spanish Fork, Utah, where 90% of the people are committed to another religion, is more grand and more gorgeous than our Krishna temples in places like New York and Chicago and San Francisco, where you expect there to be more of a constituency and more resources to do something on a higher level. If you're comfortable and convicted in your faith and in your way of life, it's actually a lot of fun, because you're living with people who have similar convictions. If you're walking the talk, then it's a great joy, reinforcement, and comfort to be cohabiting a valley with other people that are walking the talk as well. And over the years, I haven't had a lot of contact with my own co-religionists, people of my age who have my experience, veterans. I've been isolated, except for an occasional meeting or convention every few years. And so I've really been able to fortify my own spiritual convictions and all in association with some of the Mormon people that I admire, and vice versa. I find a lot of people of character, a lot of people of ethics here. It's not about dogma or doctrine. It's about by your lifestyle, by the choices that you make, by the food that you eat, by the conversations that you have, by the movies that you watch, by the books that you read. Every one of us creates a certain consciousness. Just like a flower has a certain fragrance, jasmine has a certain fragrance, rose has a certain fragrance, garbage also has a pungent fragrance. So by our choices, we're all creating a certain consciousness. And if we make good choices, we're aromatic, so to speak. We're pleasant and uplifting to associate with. And that cuts across any sectarian, denominational boundaries. Good people are good people. People of character are people of character, and they're attracted and they enjoy and they grow in each other's company. We have 2 centers now, one in Salt Lake City, which we acquired 2 years ago, and then this one And between the two centers, I would probably say 150 Western families, 150 Indian families who commit in some significant way, either finances or service. But from the early days, being in an area that's 90% Mormon, we realized that a strategy to make full-time devotees would be doomed to failure. And so we began to run this as a tourist destination with lots of festivals, cultural events, dance, drama. We put out a pamphlet and a brochure for school field trips and tours. We have an animal park here. And so over the years, we've had literally tens of thousands of students of all levels and ages come here, escorted and chaperoned by their teachers. They've eaten here, they've walked the lamas, they've seen PowerPoints, they've chanted with us. There are people now in their mid-40s who came here when they were 5 or 6 years old. And so we've been part of the cultural fabric here for about 3 decades or so. And that, as a strategy, has allowed us to keep our head above water and even prosper financially. It's a great place for short-term volunteers. Saturday morning in the summer, you can get any number of neighborly Mormons to come out and do a work project. It's probably the hardest place in the country for full-time recruits. And we're not about converting or proselytizing, but my wife and I recognize that we're getting on in years, and we don't see anyone to succeed us and to run the temple with the same sort of dynamics that it's been. And for that reason, more than any other, we wish that we could pass the baton on to at least 1 or 2 members of the current generation. Because of the festal colors, there isn't anybody, even in the top echelons of academia or government, who doesn't have a grandson or a niece or a nephew who hasn't attended the color festival. And so almost everybody's aware of it through the color festival. We become kind of like, in a small sense, rock stars because of the festival of colors. Wherever I go, people recognize me. And it's interesting, after this 2013 Festival of Colors, wherever I would go, print shop or get my oil changed, people would say, well, you're the guy from the Festival of Colors, aren't you? And I'd say, yeah. And he said, I was there. And I'd say, well, what was it like for you? And amongst all these disparate people, nobody used the term they had fun. I didn't hear anyone describe their experience, we had fun. Everybody seemed to describe it as saying they had a blast. So I take it that that's a level above fun. There are many similarities between Krishna consciousness and Christianity. Christ, we believe, was a devotee of God, a devotee of Krishna. His teachings very, very similar to our teachings. Our philosophy is called Bhakti Yoga. Yoga means yoking with God, and Bhakti means love and devotion. Our lifestyle is organized in such a way that we are lovingly serving Him in devotion from morning till evening. And Christ said the same thing, love God with all your heart and all your soul and all your might. But I do believe that if you don't have some specifics about who God is, you're at a loss how to serve Him. We're vegetarian because we believe basically in the law of karma, that what goes around comes around. As you sow, so you shall reap. What you do will be done to you. And so if I am the cause of cruelty and suffering unnecessarily by cosmic arrangement, what I've caused will become an effect. It will come around and affect me. And so if you want to be happy from a purely selfish point of view, if you want to limit the amount of suffering in your life and maximize the amount of pleasure, be kind. Be compassionate, because you're going to get what you give. And so the best way that you can serve yourself is to be as kind and compassionate, as loving and sensitive to all living beings. And it's a huge fallacy to think that animals don't feel pain. Music elevates us, music lifts us, music is a harbinger of the world of music, the world of dance, where every word is a song and every step is a dance. So Krishna is neither really blue or black. In the deity form he's blackish because they use black marble. In pictures he's more bluish. But the Sanskrit word for his bodily hue is sham, S-H-Y-M, which means the color of a monsoon cloud during the rainy season. If you've ever been in the Orient during the monsoon season, you know how beautiful, how breathtakingly beautiful the approaching monsoon cloud is. So Krishna is described as the cause of all causes. He causes everything, nothing causes him. We're emanations from him. There are also what are called plenary portions, Vishnu incarnations which proceed from Krishna, who are for all practical purposes just as powerful as him. And he appears in his various avatar forms, sometimes reddish, sometimes even green. Rama's green, golden, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But because Krishna is the source, and it's a logical principle that nothing can proceed from an origin that has more qualities than the origin itself. So if we see beauty, if we see strength, if we see fame, if we see knowledge in this world, we have to conclude that the source of it is the perfection of unlimited, all-surpassing beauty, strength, wealth, and knowledge. And so, because Krishna is the source, and he's the most attractive, and there isn't any quality in this phenomenal world, or even amongst his plenary portions, which is not present many, many times over in him, he is consistently and understandably, he takes the most attractive bluish black color of a monsoon cloud for himself. Ganesh is the removal of obstacles. He has a stout, strong, elephantine body, and he can plow his way through a thicket, which you and I would otherwise have to detour around and waste hours and hours of our time. So people in the beginning of a business, in the beginning of a marriage, the beginning of their day, they'll offer some incense to Ganesh and ask him to go before them and pave the way so that they can get to where they're going with a minimum of opposition and trouble. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he founded the Hare Krishna movement in the Western countries. His guru had asked him in 1936 to be a missionary in the English-speaking world, but he had a family at that time, and so it wasn't until his family, his children had grown up, that at the age of 70, he came to America and started a small storefront in the Lower East Side of New York, then another one in San Francisco, then another one in Montreal. So between the ages of 70 and 82, he opened up the first 108 centers of Krishna consciousness. Then he passed away in 1977. And we try to, continue what he started. There are now 500 Hare Krishna temples all over the world. What we've done with the Festival of Colors, I think, should be spread. I think that this is an experience that everyone should have, especially young people. It invariably happens during the Festival of Colors that all kinds of young boys and girls, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, come up to me and they're beaming. It's like they've been given a new vision, a new hope for the future. Negativity, cynicism has vanished for the time being. And they high-five me, they hug me, they want to get their pictures taken with me. That's extraordinary for an old geezer of 66 years old. And so I believe that, all the things that converge at the Festival of Colors can be life-changing, can be transforming. And so I'd like to make that experience available to as many young people as possible. And in Utah, of course, we'll just keep being here, offering the cultural diversity that we offer, buffet. We have a vegetarian buffet that's open every day. We have other festivals. We have the Festival of India. We have the Festival of Lights. We have Krishna's birthday festival. We continue to have tours. Generations and generations of students come through here, learn about the culture, experience the food, interact with the animals. So what we're doing, we hope to continue doing, and as well as expand the Festival of Colors beyond Utah.
Hare Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Sham. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.